Nobody tells you this. The next $5 you spend will quietly decide who you become. 40 years from tonight. It's 6:40 in the evening. Ethan is standing at a convenience store counter, and he already knows exactly what happens next. The cashier never looks up. Nobody thinks twice about $5. And that's exactly the point. He scratches it in a dark parking lot, and it's nothing. Exactly like he already knew it would be. 3 more losing tickets already sit on the passenger seat. By tomorrow, he won't remember tonight. That was always the trap. $5 is exactly the amount that vanishes without leaving a mark. He is not doing anything wrong. $5 is nothing, and nobody would ever blame him for it. Now hold that number in your mind. This is a 40-year story. Stage 1, age 25. The next evening, same counter, same cashier. This time Ethan doesn't reach for the ticket. He sits in the car and opens an app he downloaded the night before and moves $5 into an index fund. The balance reads $5. It looks like a child's bank account, and he feels slightly foolish. 1 button. No opinion required. No thrill. No number scratched off to reveal a win. Like planting one seed and calling it a farm. He sets it to happen automatically, so the money leaves before he can spend it on something wrapped in plastic. $152 a month. Gone quietly. Stage 2, age 26. A number so small, it almost feels like an insult. A year has passed. The balance reads $1,900, and 75 of it grew on its own while he slept. At lunch, he mentions it to his coworker, Derek. Derek laughs, not cruelly, just honestly. "I make that in an afternoon," Derek says. He's not wrong. Lunch out daily, a drink every evening, a ticket when the jackpot gets loud, scattered across 100 tiny pleasures he'll never name later. Ethan says nothing and closes his laptop. The difference between them is $75, and a habit nobody else can see. Stage 3, age 30. 5 years in, the balance sits near $11,000. $9,000 of it was his. The rest appeared while he wasn't looking. He does the math one night. $11,000 built entirely out of things he simply chose not to buy. Derek texts a screenshot. A coin up 400% in a week. He calls Ethan a coward. Ethan has seen this shape before. On a counter, under a coin. He texts back that he'll pass. 3 months later, the coin is down 90%. Ethan keeps doing the most boring thing a person can do with money. Day after day after day. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want more stories like this one. Ethan's story is far from over. So tell me below, would you have taken Derek's bet or stayed boring like Ethan? Subscribe to see how this ends. He sets it, forgets it, and lets 5 more years pass without a single skipped payment. Stage 4, age 35. 10 years in, the balance reads $27,800. Then the whole market drops, and headlines scream, crash! His balance falls by 1/3 in weeks, more than he earned all year. Derek says he's safe in cash now. Ethan doesn't sell. He simply stops opening the app and lets the fund buy in while it's cheap. Deliver the lot of Arias. By the time everyone agrees it's safe to come back in, his boring habit already bought the bottom nobody could see. Doing nothing turns out to be the rarest skill in finance. Stage 5, age 40. 15 years in, the balance sits near $52,600. One Deliverak, without sounding like a theatrical performance. Boss, for the first time, the account holds more than he ever fed it. A coworker gets laid off that spring. With nothing behind him, Ethan has a number he's never touched. Waiting quietly. Ethan doesn't mention his savings. He just buys the man lunch that week and says absolutely nothing about it. The $5 was never only about retirement. It was a wall against a bad year. Stage 6, age 45. He never planned to touch it, and he never once labeled it an emergency fund on purpose. Somewhere along the way, the account started working a second job. Ethan never actually assigned it. 20 years in, the balance is about $89,000. At a reunion, someone pulls up in a leased car worth more than a year's salary. Someone else talks loudly about a new watch. Ethan drives the same paid-off car he's had for 8 years. Derek is there too, still buying lunch out, still buying tickets. He asks, half joking, about that little app. The table goes quiet in a way nobody asked for and nobody enjoys. Stage 7. Age 50. 25 years in, the balance is around $144,000. Tripled without asking his permission. Headlines say people his age have nothing saved. That comfortable retirement is slipping away for ordinary earners like him. Ethan had the same job, the same salary, the same traffic. His friends talk about retirement like a cliff they're being marched toward. Ethan talks about it like weather, something that simply arrives. He didn't earn more. He didn't invest smarter. He simply started 25 years before most people ever begin. The only difference was refusing a ticket and a cold can, quietly, for 25 years. Stage 8. Age 55. 30 years in, the balance is around $226,000. This is the year the math quietly flips for good. The account now grows more in a strong year than he could add by hand, even doubling his contributions. He has become a passenger to his own balance. He doesn't talk about the number. Not to his kids, not to the friend who once called him a coward. The number lives in a place no one looks, which happens to be exactly where it grew. Stage 9, age 65. 40 years from that first evening, the balance is about $531,000. Of that $500,000, what he actually put in was $73,000. The other $458,000 is growth he never worked an hour for. He didn't get lucky. And he didn't pick a winner, and he didn't time anything. He skipped a scratch ticket 40,000 times in a row. The slowness was the price. Almost nobody pays in a currency that takes 40 years to clear. There is no second secret, and no version of this, where someone hands you the growth faster. Derek retires the same year, same job, same salary the whole way. A decent man who never missed a shift. Deliver 40 years, his version of the $5 also added up to $73,000. The exact same money, same counter, same evenings, same $5 bill. Held by two different men for 40 years straight. Derek has a lifetime of small pleasures and a pension. Ethan has those same pleasures, mostly, and also $500,000 behind his life. Nobody can point to the exact day they split, because there was no single day. There were just two different answers to the same tiny question, asked again every evening, until the answers stopped being choices. Somewhere right now, it's 6:40 in the evening. Someone is standing at a counter with $5 in their hand. They are not doing anything wrong. $5 is nothing, and that's always been the trap and the door. Too small to matter. That is exactly why almost no one keeps it, and exactly why it quietly decides everything for the few who do. You were never going to feel the $5. Either way, you only got to choose what it turned you into, while you weren't paying attention.